Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. We're back.
In the dungeon, just chilling.
Okay, we're going to switch gears just a little bit this week.
Somebody did homework.
Very research.
Very surprising. Steven's going to go actually into how derbies originated, where it originated, and I had no idea it was that long ago.
Well, we've had some requests as far as people wanting to know. They get that we're covering these derbies and some of the terminology we use and talking about why this car can't run and this car can't run. They're wanting to know. Because we've got people that aren't in the derby community listening to this at this point.
Correct. Podcast fanatics.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I get it because I listen to podcasts. If I've got some downtime, because you can only listen to so much radio. You can only listen to the same songs so many times.
Yeah, same playlist.
I mean, even though my playlist is fire.
And Steven's favorite song is Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Okay. I'm ready. Death is going to be a reality for Si. But anyway, let's get into this. So when I started researching this, 1947 is the first recorded derby that I found.
That's not counting the moonshiners, back in the day in the southern stuff.
That were running into each other.
But actually documented 1947.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
insane. Could you imagine those black and white pictures? Bring that to light right now? You're talking full glassed.
Oh, yeah. Full glass shit.
Yeah.
Like shards
Teardrop
of glass
fenders,
in the foreheads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it really became an organized event in the mid-50s, and that was Decker's.
Yep.
Stomping ground.
Long Island, New York.
Yep. It was where all that started, and it was because they noticed that the fans that were watching these circle track events were more interested in the wrecks than they were the monotony of watching cars go in circles.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like I said to you before we even hit the go button, is there's still people that go to the races just to see the wrecks.
Dude, Bristol, Tennessee. If I was to ever go to a NASCAR race, it would be Bristol, because half that race is wrecks, half of it is wrecks.
There is a lot of wrecks. But, that's the short track part of it. Half mile super stupid banking. Yeah, they're hauling.
Which, I know that we've talked, the progression of this sport has just been ridiculous in the last 10 years. But, can you imagine what the progression was from the mid-50s to the 70s?
Oh.
Just because of the different style of cars that they had.
Yeah. What is really cool in my profession is that a lot of the safety evaluations, you can actually go and YouTube, Google all this stuff, and you can actually see doing the safety tests from like a 55, 57 Chevrolet to what it is now. And everybody's like, well, like a minivan. Everybody's like, well, it's got an aluminum cradle. I understand that, but you guys don't realize, I've seen the videos and how hard these things are. Where they bend, crush zones.
They're supposed to.
Yes.
It's meant not to break that shit.
Yep. It
as
surpasses.
Well as keep everybody that's in the cabin area safe.
Yeah, it surpasses just.
And that's another thing that drives me insane about all these people. Well, you need to allow them this and this and this for safety. I'm like, these things are tested at 50 mile an hour crash rating.
Yep.
I understand that's only one time that they're supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're side impact tested. They're head-on collision impact. So they're
even angles.
Yeah.
45 angles.
Yes.
They'll load like a driver's rail head-on instead of straight in the center of the bumper. I've actually seen one, and I'm pretty sure it's like a 56 or 7 Chevrolet, and they take it head-on with like a newer Impala.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the Impala annihilated that old Chevrolet.
Yeah.
It just folded it everywhere, and the dummy wasn't even hurt.
Well, that was the one that I seen, that old Chevy. The A-pillar was pushed back halfway past the door.
Yep. It'll do some weird shit.
But a lot of the research that I did and reading into this, it says that the 70s, as far as derby, was like the golden years. Because that was whenever it was really becoming a thing. You had popular TV stations like ABC and stuff like that was broadcasting these events.
Because it was
Because
something new.
derbies-
It
well,
was
yeah,
something
it was.
new.
These derbies were a sideshow attraction
Yep.
that become a main event.
Kind of like the little hairy Wolfman boy,
Yeah.
you know, at a circus.
Yes,
Nobody gave a
100%.
shit about the trapeze artist up there. They wanted to see that weird thing.
Yeah.
And
And that's what this become. You know, they were doing it as a ploy to get fans to come watch this so that they would be able to sell the tickets and stuff for their main event. Well, Derbying progressed into the main event. I
Yep.
mean, so much so as to where now you can, any given weekend
oh,
during the summer, you can go find a place to watch a demolition derby.
played a golf tournament yesterday, and the first thing one of the guys we were playing with, he's like, "No derbies this weekend?" I was like, "Well, there is, but I didn't feel like driving to them, and we actually had a couple weekends off." So,
You didn't hit him with your golf cart, did you?
no, I did not hit him with my golf cart. Junior Cardwell was not at the Shelbina Lakeside Golf Course. I guarantee it.
And then you jump. I'm jumping around here quite a bit because I'm kind of going back on my notes and whatnot. But the like TNN, you know, whenever they first started highlighting like Motor Madness and Tour Destruction in 2017 and stuff, like that's whenever all this really blew up mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, so much so as Hot Wheels got into the production and Johnny Lightning and all that of putting out production die-cast demolition derby cars.
Yep.
Which was mind-boggling to me. You know, you take our backyard sport and put it into mainstream America.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's surreal almost.
Which I mean, it was one of the first ones that we did. A lot of the world, especially the United States, they all considered demo guys just dirty rednecks.
Right.
And, you know, when this really started to take off, I mean, a lot of the guys, and I think where they're getting it, you know, hell, their hands were black from the motor oil, from the grease, from the welding, you know, cutting
not
torch
seeing
soot.
that
But
these
they're
days.
not. I mean, you're seeing almost office type people, quote unquote, you know,
Right.
like an office manager somewhere. He's going in, he's junking a 10 Vic, just standing it to the goddamn moon.
But, and we've talked about that with the availability of the newer Crown Vics.
Mm-hmm.
The cars that are only 20 years old now, you're not getting into that dirt and grime like they used
Nope.
to. You know, you're not pulling a car that was sitting in a fence row for 40 years out and trying to get it running that had leaked oil. And I pulled a 4.6 out of a Ford here a while back, and I didn't have any dirt on my hands.
No, there's none. I mean, you're not worried about seals leaking and
Well,
all sorts
you're
of
pulling
shit.
low mileage motors out, 7,000 mile motors.
Yep. Just think about the guy who, when the Crown Vic plant closed, there was frames and cars still in this facility.
Oh yeah.
I mean, somebody made
You
an
don't think
offer.
they threw those away?
No, somebody made an offer on it. I can't remember who, but he bought every one in this facility, and I mean, it was hundreds.
Right. So, I mean, the cars are definitely out there. And like I said, I'm going to jump around a little bit on all this stuff. Ooh, what was that?
That was a little MD 2020 Spike Punch. Our safety guy actually didn't bring us a shit box drink today. It's
He
still,
might have. We
It's
haven't
still
tried it yet.
12%. Sweet blue raspberry.
Well, I'm going to open this one too. It's the same thing. It's just tangy orange.
Well, let's give her a shot.
Woo! Woo! Oh. Mad Dog.
Some bitch is
2020.
rough, son. Woo! I don't remember it tasting like that 25 years ago out of high
You don't
school.
want to smoke a cigarette with this.
Oh, God. You might want to smoke something else with it, but not a cigarette.
Well, I'm going to have to back
Woo.
off this mic a little bit
Whew.
and melt the top off of it.
Oh, back to the task at hand.
But anyway, what we were talking about, whenever Derbyum went mainstream as far as televised events in the 70s, I don't know I would say anybody that has been on YouTube and searched demolition derbies has come up with the championship derbies that was displayed in Los Angeles Coliseum. And I think one of the biggest ones they ever had was in 1972. And I'm pretty sure that they filled that place.
That stadium holds over 100,000 people. I think it's like 108 or 110,000 people.
That show was insane because you had NASCAR drivers of that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt.
OG AJ Foyt.
Yeah, that were in that demolition derby.
Yes.
Bobby Unser.
Yeah.
And I think they probably got smart and only did it once and decided, you know what, this shit really hurts.
Yeah.
They'd rather wreck at 180, in a full cage than they would wrecking at 40 getting hit by a tank.
100%. 100%. But that was the type of stuff that got this sport moving.
And now it's this. I really think the sky is the limit.
100%.
With the aftermarket parts we have spoke about previously, to the motors, transmissions, rear ends. I mean, every piece of these things, other than the body themselves and the frames, can be 100% fabricated. Control arms, spindles, your Toast Watts links. He is so into those and guarantees all this stuff. He's got a lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
If they break, send them back. I'll send you some new ones. And to my knowledge, I've never seen anything that Toast has ever built break.
And I'm sure there's something out there.
Oh yeah.
Because nobody's perfect. We've talked about that too. It's crazy to me to think, like we've said, that something that come from just backwoods shade tree mechanics letting out frustration has turned into this sport that, I mean, all of us, we love it.
That you can derby somewhere, whether it's Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, New York, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Texas. I mean, you can go to any state and see top quality drivers, top quality builders on 100% levels of just wicked.
Well, what was that back in like 2013 or something? They had Kings of Crash.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that was Lucas Oil on the Edge, wasn't it?
Yep.
That was putting that on.
Yeah, like not Mav TV. It was something right before Mav.
But that was killer. And now I think that American Wreckers.
And now I think it's going to launch this month on YouTube, I believe, the Gladiators of Steel.
Right.
Which they hit that on at Border Wars. And I mean, Pete Hansen's on there showing these hits. I mean,
it's the stuff that Derby Tees and Track Shot Live and, those Gladiators of Steel, like, that's what's building this sport back up.
Yes.
As we say it time and time and time again, from a driver standpoint, from a fan standpoint, from a promoter standpoint, this sport doesn't work without fans.
No, it'll work with drivers.
Well, yeah, but that's why I always tell people, if you don't feel like you're the type of person that wants to drive, this sport has to have fans too.
Guarantee you. And if you don't want to drive, you can ride.
Standing in the stands cheering somebody on.
Yep. Yeah, as long as there's no incidents, maybe like P. Hill.
Yeah.
Because we were cheering that dude on, just in a little bit different way.
Well, that might have been a little bit of that dumb redneck coming out. I don't know.
But yeah, we have talked that this sport has progressed so much. Me and you've personally talked off air. The stuff that people have figured out, I'm not agreeing with all of it, but ways to cheat.
Yeah, or
that you can't catch.
Well, and not even so much the cheating that you can't catch. The time that they have put in to figure something out that I didn't think of. That Jerry didn't think of.
Yep.
Justin didn't think of. Cedric,
Mm-hmm.
our techs, Gary Jones, Paul Smith, the Woods boys, Josh Wagner, you will see something at every show that after you make them cut it or fix it or whatever, you'll huddle back up with your guys and you're like, holy shit, that was cool.
Yeah, you had to cut it, but it was cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Man, why didn't I think of that? That's probably why I got my ass stomped 3 shows ago, something like that. But, and I guarantee you that happens twice at every show we have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Some kind of ingenuity that is just insane. Over the top, outside the box type stuff.
Yeah.
And to be competitive, that's what you got to be. You got to think outside the box.
You do. We've all spoken. You have to push every rule to the maximum edge. Most of the time, they go over a little.
Honestly, though, a lot of them, unless they're just dumbasses, won't stand there and just fight you about it. Because they know when they're doing it. I wish everybody could see Derek's face right
I can't
now.
do it.
I thought earlier when you guys took your first drink,
I can't do it. Sorry, Si, I cannot do it. I'll open that other one because I know I like him some bitches.
You want to try this tangy orange?
Well, you want to try that blue raspberry of...
Not after that face I seen
Ooh.
you make, really. Nope, same face.
It's the wine taste. I can't do it. Yeah, that one's worse, ain't it?
Yeah, I'm out on both of
Yeah.
those.
So, here, let's do this one more time. Cayman Jack margaritas. That's what I'm talking about.
That's doable.
Oh, so much gooder. Oh. But television's helped progression. The amount of promotional companies has helped progression.
The amount of promotional tools on my end is what keeps our shows rolling. Because it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg every time. Now, I'm not saying that I don't spend the money there. Facebook, social media is a hell of a tool.
There's progression right there because, back in the day when I was younger, it was word of mouth, newspaper, or radio. That was your only 3.
Yep.
You'd have, 14 dudes calling each other, and at one time, half of them were still on a party line because they lived out in BFE, saying, hey, what are you guys going to do Saturday? Well, I'm going to go to a derby. Oh, shit, I didn't even know nothing about it. Oh, you didn't read the newspaper this week? Well, man, I can't read.
Right.
that typical stuff.
And these small towns, though, with their banners, I love it. I
Yep.
love pulling into a little town. Our fair is the 13th through the 17th.
Yep.
Demolition Derby Saturday.
Yep.
It's the little things in this sport that really keep me going. Because it does help these small town fair boards and communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that stretches all the way across the United States.
Yeah, I've never been to a fair in California, but I know they build nasty shit out there.
They have badass derbies.
Yeah,
I mean,
Utah, California,
you
New
see
Mexico.
the pictures, again, social media.
Yep.
Because I don't know how many people I've got on Snapchat, but it's a lot.
A lot.
So I'll get to, scrolling through my stories, and I'll see a sand track or,
Yep.
something that's not our color dirt.
No.
And I'll be like, oh, what do we got going on here? And it'll be Oregon,
Yep.
or something crazy. And there I am. I'm vested at that point.
Yep. I mean, I've seen, I think it was back in the day, like a TNN or a TNT show I was watching them on asphalt.
Yeah.
In a concrete arena.
Yep.
And that's when the first time I ever saw the Enforcer car, the Imperial.
Yeah.
And if you bagged, you didn't get an X. He hammered your ass. And I mean hammered. And as soon as the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm watching this the entirety.
And
But-
honestly, everybody's got a story like that lit that fire. It was the spark that ignited the passion for the sport.
Yep.
Because whenever we come back to Boone County, do you know how many people there had approached me and was like, oh man, I've never been to one of these. I've never seen one of these derbies.
Yeah.
Being right here in my hometown or where I'm living, I had the opportunity to come out. That was badass.
Yep.
And it's stuff like that, honestly. And I guess you call it looking for verification or whatever you want, but that's the shit that keeps me moving.
My parts manager, he came out and watched. He'd never seen one. He was born and raised in Florida, and then he moved up here when he was younger, but he's never saw one. So he was like, Monday he comes to my desk, he said, when's the next one? I mean, he absolutely loved it. And you get some of those guys that, man, that didn't really do nothing for me. No big deal. I'll go back to watching drag racing or whatever. But, just seeing that one other person.
Yeah.
Or 10 other people.
Because it's not just him that you got hooked, because he's going to go to Thanksgiving. And that's going to come up in conversation.
Yep.
Oh, man, you all know, I've never been to one of these before. Check this shit out. And then he's got YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube going up, and then you see Adam Lemonadger parking on somebody's roof.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, shit. And then there's the other person hooked.
Right.
So.
And then say they've got a 16-year-old kid. Well, look at this gut and go class, and grandma's got an old Buick sitting out back.
La Sabre.
Yeah, it's been sitting there for 5 years. And, somebody goes out and starts it every once in a while. Well, it's a piece of shit, but it's worthy of a gut and go.
Yep.
And then you've got a 16-year-old kid out there. And 3 of his buddies come with him.
Well, speaking of first-timers, Miss Brooksy Teal, number 17, from last weekend, I know for a fact she bought 3 vans as soon as she was done Saturday night. I know where they come from, and she told us that night that, hey, this ain't my last one. It's my first one, but it's definitely not my last one. And she went and bought 3. So she's already starting the progression.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it won't just be her.
No.
It'll be one of those friends.
Hell, it might be her old man and, a boyfriend or brother, whoever was with her that night. He might be in one of them. And their oldest son might, who's 14, 15, 16 years old, he might be in another one. Progression is great. Whether it's a Lucky Sevens, because, those guys, they started just a couple years ago with their, figure 8 stuff. They have progressed into figure 8 and derby. Now they do that bump and run, whatever that shit is.
Yeah.
And, Josh Wagner doing his stuff in
Dude,
Owensville.
He had a badass.
Yes, he did. I mean, he even got, was it last month? He got a couple gigs over there.
Yeah.
His way. That Union show. Hell, I think Skinny even drove over, and I think he watched a little bit and grabbed a couple cars that he bought, and he hauled them back. Everything is progressing.
Well, and whenever we get done with this, I'll have to show you. I actually got put into a group message the other day with Wagner and Wood and a few other guys about doing some breakthrough shit next year. Maybe something that might actually change the way of Missouri derbies. So if we can,
I have an idea in my head, and I hope I'm right.
If we can move towards something like that and get all of our techs and stuff on the same page, the shit'll be wicked.
Yeah, that's where we'll talk about that on the next one, but I think I have an idea of where you're going with that. And,
they kept throwing suggestions in there, and all I would give them was, I'm in.
Yeah, game. These guys, whether it's a SMS, they progress. Ski Inc., they progress. Narrett progresses. Circle Z, Cannonball Derby parts. We're not giving any of those guys a plug, but the way they have helped progress everything, where when I talked to Alan, because Alan started when he derbied originally, none of that shit was offered. If you wanted it, you made it. And that's when I talked to Dalen.
Honestly, we haven't had that option
No.
for very long.
No, we haven't. I mean, you did some, 10, 12 years ago.
I
Everybody
didn't
had
know
a
anything
slider.
about it.
You didn't know nothing about a slider?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, whenever I
Yeah.
first started in this shit, I think it was 13 or whatever, whenever I first run a car in Boone County, I didn't know what the fuck a slider was. I mean, because I had come off of helping my uncle, my dad, and all them in the 90s.
They didn't have no sliders.
No. We just thought it was badass that we were building drive shafts.
And never take it out to test drive because that bitch is never straight.
No.
It's like, well, it's going to vibrate my teeth out, but let's make it out on the track to do it. You know, and then the first guy was like, hell, let's take this tractor PTO shaft.
Yeah.
We're going to cut it. We're
then
going to
when
slide it
my car
inside each
starts-
other. And you're like, what?
Then whenever my car starts coming up, that shaft will pull out.
Uh-huh.
I'll lose drive shaft.
Yep.
That's that thinking outside the box shit that I was talking about.
Yep.
And I love it. The +2 spindles, you know. I can't get bump right out of this fucking thing. What if I? You
Put
know,
some-
because the first set that he made was a set of chopped up stock.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. Just put extensions up in the upper rail of it, and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to add an inch here and see what it does.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't hold up quite good enough. What if I widen that flange, and then now you've got NASCAR hubs mounted to CNC cut spindles, and you can make them as tall as you want.
Yeah.
You know, I had a guy messaging me the other day, and he was like, man, can I do this? And I said, why? He said, well, I want to get ride height out of it because I'm used to the +2 spindles. And I'm like, well, yeah, there's nothing in the rules that says you can't do it. The only thing that you can't do is double a spring. He was like, no problem. Cool.
Right.
And I was like, well, you smart bastard.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm telling you that's what the sport's about.
Yep.
I mean, we see it all the time. The lower cradles, man, whenever all that stuff come about, I got to studying that and looking at it, and I was like, son of a bitch, man. Somebody put time, I mean, a lot of time, standing in their shop, looking at this motor, mocking stuff up on it,
Yep.
getting it where it was protecting, reinforcing, whatever, all the while fitting where a stock motor mount should have been.
Mm-hmm. And then figuring out, man, this 7-quart pan, this fits really good, but I think if I go to a 15-quart pan, it's not going to fit. So
Right.
what do I need to do to adjust that and change that? Oh, shit, I'm going to go to an LS. Completely different oil pan. What do I got to do that as well? You know, it's constant change.
Mopar, Ford, you know,
Uh-huh.
Chevrolet, and they're all doing it.
Just like when everybody started running the Crown Vics, is that people had to figure out running the Chevrolet motors. They don't fit the same. Not even close. They don't mount the same. So you're trying to figure out how to move everything to get it correctly. And then, okay, I've got the motor down. Now my drive shaft is like 4 inches too short or too long. You know, I'm going to blow a seal out of something. I'm not. So,
Or I've got a transmission that's buried in the floorboard.
yep, way up in the floorboard. And it just keeps coming back to those 10 words. Progression.
Yep.
The nice little 10-letter word. And it's. I like to see what it'll be in another 5 years.
Well, I honestly think that stuff's going to start getting more cost effective. Because everybody's like, oh, it's turning into a money game. Go look at the first time they were selling lower cradles compared to now. The price went down tremendously.
Yes.
And that's because everybody's doing it.
Yep. We've said many times, you need a lower cradle. Look on Facebook. Look on Marketplace. Look on Midmo Derby parts. Look at Blizzard Bash parts for sale. You're going to find a lower cradle, $100, $150. You do not have to go buy a brand new A to Z at $400
Right.
or a ski at $400.
But if that's what you want.
that's what you want, yeah. But you don't have to. You can always go get those used ones.
Or make one.
Make one. I don't have the equipment to make one.
I don't either. Well, you do. If you want to be crude about it and take your time cleaning it up, because you can make one with a torch and welder.
That would suck.
I've seen people do it.
I know. I'm good at a torch, but I don't think I'm that good at a torch. Plasma cutter, on the other hand,
I
would
watched
be good to
Josh
go.
Gordon build one. I watched him build a 1/2-inch cradle with a torch and welder.
Even watching the full cradles progress, you know, because back in the day, right when the full cradles came out, everybody really had a Hofmeister.
Yep.
Everybody, if
Or
you
Big Rock.
or Big Rock, Hofmeister was really popular around here. And then when Jason and Ryan started doing the ski,
But they completely reinvented the wheel with that cradle.
yes, they did, where you could actually hand turn bolts in. I mean, everything would line up to as you ordered it. Hey, I've got 350 block, or I got
But
a 400
all
block.
that was geometry.
Yep. You could see some of them have a real hard time bolting it together, and then the progression of that stage where you're just putting them in with your fingers and then running all of them down and then mounted, you drop it in and you're done.
And I'm not saying that's a 30-minute job.
No,
I mean,
no, it's not.
We're making that. I feel like we
I've seen
undersold
guys.
that a
Well,
little
I've seen
bit.
guys struggle for 2 days putting
Yeah.
one together, and I've seen guys just put them together in 4 hours.
Right.
Done deal.
But I'm just saying it's not a 15-minute job.
No.
You're not going to order a cradle and slap your motor in and be done.
No, picking up one of them heavy bastards is enough. Just on the end plates,
Well, yeah, because you're talking 1 inch.
1 inch
cradle.
T1 steel.
Yeah.
That shit's heavy.
2 people aren't grabbing a hold of that and walking off with it.
I've seen it actually. Everybody knows a cherry picker. Pick up a motor, small block Chevrolet, easy. Put a cradle on it. Watch that bitch flip. My fat ass is having to stand on the other end because if not, it's going to tip over. So by the time you put a transmission, a tranny protector, your engine, plus a full cradle, yeah, I don't know how much it weighs exactly, but it's a fucking truckload.
Let's go to the lighter side of all this. We're talking about progression. Back whenever my uncle and all them were running in the early 90s, mid-90s, you went out there, you spray painted your car, whatever color you wanted, and you throwed your number on the door of it.
In spray paint,
Yep.
1X or whatever, and by the third hit, you can't even read that thing from the...
Let's talk about what that's become.
Oh, dude.
Professional paint jobs. There's people out there spending $1,500 on a paint job for a car and then buying badass door wraps.
Whether it's Jason Sauer painting it, TJ Irvin. I mean, we've gone from just rattle can in the shop right before it goes on the trailer to go to the show to full door wraps, roof signs, and now the graffiti. Jason Sauer, TJ Irvin.
Yeah, but there is the door wraps. I love it. I do. They're badass.
Yep.
They look cool.
George,
Yep, GH3.
George High Note. He was the first real, him and Lee Engstrom.
Yep.
We've got a new guy in the game over from Utah, Justin
Broadhead,
Broadhead decals.
That dude's badass.
Dude, my son, he got his this week for an early birthday present, and he had no
Well,
clue.
look what he's done for us. I mean,
He made our Hard Nose podcast sticker, our emblems. He worked up a door wrap for you.
yep.
He did my boy's roof sign.
Which I can't pull anything away from George, dude. That dude has never done me wrong.
Oh no, George is legit, and so is Lee. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys who we're talking about are legit people. I had enough trust in Justin. It
Well,
was
after
it
he
was
did our
yeah,
logo,
it was not
like-
goods and services. That shit was friends and family.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, if you don't try, I was like, no, we're not worried about that. I just want your preference. Do you want it goods and services? Or do you want it friends and family? He's like, friends and family's fine. So, but my boy opened that thing and he just went, that is badass.
Well, that's what you're looking for.
So I told Justin, last name, what he wanted on there, his favorite colors, and his number.
Dude, run with it.
And he sent me a picture, and I was like, hell yes, right
Well,
off jump.
As soon as the dude opened it, I got a Snapchat, and as he was like showing me the picture of it, I could see a silhouette of his wiener. Because he was about 3/4 shoved up over that roof sign.
There's a lot of guys that are running Justin stuff, priced right,
Quick.
quick design time, quick
I bet
ship.
that stops.
Yeah,
It'll slow up.
it will. Which he did make a post just the other day. He doesn't really like the vinyl, his last shipment, and he did give us all a heads up. The stuff is going to go up just a little bit because his quality of vinyl is going to go up as well.
Well, why not?
Correct. I mean, you've got to go with the
Nobody
times as well.
bitches about paying for quality.
Nope. None.
Do you want to give $12 for a steak that you could walk on for 3 months, or do you want one that'll melt in your mouth?
I want one that'll melt my mouth.
Okay, so you'll give $30 for the one that tastes
Yep.
good.
If I got to bend a fork trying to cut that piece of shit shoe leather, I'm out. No matter how much it costs.
Big facts.
But yeah, he did Team Havoc stuff. He did Landon and Cody's door wraps, roof signs. Look great.
Shit was tough.
Dale Colbert.
My face was on the side of his car.
Yeah, mine too. And I think we got told that they're no more.
They're
Which he
gone.
told us a couple weeks ago that, you know, he was going to use the doors a lot.
Well, I told him that he might be putting a target on his car.
I think people kind of
Contrary to popular belief, I am not loved by everyone.
No, I think there's some people that might have Malachi crunched that car a little bit.
Oh, happy days.
That was another publicity stunt that was pulled in the 70s.
Yep.
Pinky Tuscadero and Arthur
The Fonz.
Fonzarelli.
Oh, yeah.
Hey. With that cool ass leather jacket. But
that shit was televised, and you
Count
know,
Malachi
yep.
with his little feather pirate hat and everything.
You know, so we go, you know, broadhead decals, Angstrom Designs,
GH3.
GH3. There's more out there. It's just the preference. I know that Landon and them guys, when we talked to them over at the shop before Mother's Day, the other guys were so busy, they were way down on the list. Well,
Every time I've got George to do something for me, I fell in shit and come out smelling like a rose.
yep,
Because George was like, oh, yeah, actually I can.
yep,
Isn't that your normal routine?
yeah, kind of. But, you know, well, and, you know, we're talking progression. Earlier, I talked to Justin this week. He was at Heber City, Utah. I think his niece ran something on Friday night. Him and his nephew ran Old Iron Stock on
I got
Saturday.
to see a little bit of it. He was putting in work.
Yep. We were talking about that. It looked like maybe an upper 60s Chrysler of some sort. He did tell me this week he had to put a head gasket in it. I said, Derby car or driver? He said, Derby car. I was like, oh, shit. So he had, but I guarantee you, stuff still went out the door,
Yep.
you know. But yeah.
Which he'll get like the rest of us, and no offense to him whatsoever, because I know he'll listen to this.
Yep.
You're going to turn your hobby into a job, and at that point, it's not fun anymore, it's work.
Yep.
I'm not saying that the passion doesn't push you through it,
Yeah.
but you'll be sitting in there at 10 o'clock at night, trying to fill an order, push it out, and you'll finally just sit there and be like, son of a bitch. I haven't done anything in 5 weeks except for push myself.
Designs. He's actually agreed to design our school's FFA trap shirts.
Now that right there is something that can be said for a person.
Yep.
Some dude out of Utah
He
gives
said-
a shit enough
Yep.
that Madison, Missouri
Is
made a call.
gonna be rocking his emblem. And I mean, he said it so quick. I asked him, I said, dude, I said, have you ever thought about, I said, my boys' trap team is looking for new designs for their shirts. You know, what do you think? He said, dude, I'm game. Send me colors, send me school name, whatever. And then he had the Derby coming up, and he told me the other day, he's like, man, I'm going to get to you. He's like, I just got to get through this first. So, just
Well, every time I've talked to the guy, you might get a message back from him at 1 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock. I think I got one at 2 o'clock in the morning the other day,
Yeah, a little
but it's
time change,
11 his
yeah.
time, you know, so that's why I was like, man, I'm kind of looking at my clock, and I was like, well, it's 9, so it's 7 his time. Yeah, we should be good, you know, but all them guys are stand-up dudes, but,
They are, because George, he's right back on you, too.
oh, yeah.
Even if he's busy, he'll be like, hey, bear with me.
We talked to him at Spring X.
Yep.
George has got a full-time job,
Yeah.
too, plus Derby Nation,
Yep.
going to to video the shows plus his graphic stuff. You know, but we all kind of know most of the Derby guys, they want their shit and they want it now.
Well, and if anybody else is out there like myself, you usually don't give the biggest notice. You're not telling a guy 6 months before you need him.
Correct.
It's 2 weeks, and you're like, oh, shit.
It's 6 days,
Yeah.
not 6 weeks.
And then you're like, oh, well, I just got it in paint tonight. Derby Saturday. Think you get over here to graffiti this car? Or, you know, or slap some decals on the side of it?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to wait a couple days before I can even touch the fucking thing.
Yeah. I mean, how many times I've seen George at Blizzard Bash do our team cars. He got them done the night before he left for Topeka and said, I texted him, is like, where y'all at? Well, we're right here in this section of the parking lot. And he's like, I'll be there in 15 minutes to stick them on.
I was getting teched in at Blizzard Bash
In the line.
in line, and George was slapping stickers on that bench.
Yep. Yeah. That's devotion. That's devotion to his trade. That's devotion to his customers. And that's devotion to the sport.
He was pulling up with me,
Uh-huh.
putting stickers on the side of his car.
Yep. Yep.
And anytime, like, I don't give a shit if he would have asked me to put a 14-foot dick down the side of my car.
Good color.
I would have done it because I'm telling you, he rushed all that shit together, didn't charge me shit to do it.
Yep.
Because he was like, hey, can we put this Derby Nation sticker on there? DerbyNation.tv. Get with it, son.
Yep. Stick it wherever you want. As long as it don't affect my field of view, get on it.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Give me an
I
excuse.
I do love Fig Newtons.
What do I do with my-
is
what I-
dangerous
what I
and
do with my-
inconvenient.
What do I do
but
with my
I do
hands?
love Fig Newtons.
Big Newtons and vanilla ice cream. They're pretty damn delicious.
What is it? What's the other one? If you don't like Big Red, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, so. But yeah, give a shout out to Justin. We'll be using you pretty consistently.
And I'll still spread love to George.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Justin.
Yep. He's doing another design for us. I just hadn't told you yet. Yeah. Yeah, my bad, dog. We had some derbies around us this weekend. I had company, other stuff going on. Bowling Green.
I'm going to tell you right now, I was working again.
Mm-hmm.
Not my regular job. I was out here helping sling equipment out here at Wheeler Auto.
Throwing some equipment.
Fucking 3,100 pieces. 3,150 pieces. Biggest sale I've ever been to in my life.
Yep. There was a shitload of
It
trucks
was
there.
Huge. That shit was wild.
Yeah. Mr. Markley went over and looks like he had a really good car count for
Yeah,
Bowling
60
Green.
cars or some shit.
Yep.
Which isn't the normal Bowling Green.
No,
count.
it's not.
But just like we said for Boone County,
Transition.
there was more drivers in the stands than
Yep.
there was on the track.
Yep. I know, I think a couple Brown boys went over. I think maybe a Baker went over.
Looked
Some
like
Splains
Tyler-
went over.
Looked like Tyler might have brought home a check.
Tyler got broke off.
Oh, really?
I believe that's the Snapchat I got. One of them questionable calls, heat of the moment deals.
We all get it.
Yep. I think the guy was moving and Tyler went for a wheel shot and caught a door. And I think they broke him off
Gordon
because
tried
of
to
it.
tell me some shit like that too.
I think Bobby Splain did work over there.
Dude
Brought
can
home a
drive.
fat check. Yeah.
Bobby's
That dude can drive.
Not the first time he's come up on here.
No.
I can't remember who took second. I know Bobby Splain, I heard, took first. Dalen was third. But I cannot remember who took second.
I think
I
Mr.
haven't seen any results.
I think Mr. Full Send.
he cashed 2 checks.
Yeah, I think he got a Mad Dog and finished in the money. I think Mr.
Oh, hey, that was my son.
I think Mr. Brady Smith cashed a fat check
Yep.
as well. You know, so the guys that we hang with, the guys that run our stuff, you know, they're going to other promotion companies and they're, you know, they're doing work too. And we just got to give it up to them, you know. You know, so
Spread the love.
there. Speaking of Tex, we had some guys that went over to St. Charles County Fair at Wentzville. That street stock top 3 was Mr. Jerry Lyerly.
2 of our tags.
And Tony Miller run 3rd. And then Austin, who's run our stuff before, Austin Johnson.
Dirty Pound Town himself.
The Prince of Pound Town, according to Colt Doyle. The Prince of Pound Town pulled in 2nd. I think he had a fuel pump issue. He wasn't real happy, but the car looks like it's way runnable again. I think Jerry's looks way runnable again.
Tony's is questionable.
Tony's is foobarred, I would guess.
I went down there and watched that show last night. It was on.
It get turned up. You know, when you get them guys together, it's going to get turned up. And that's
Well,
the
I
thing.
heard a local brought out the W in the stock class.
He did.
Dustin Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Did he?
Yes, he
sir.
did.
See, I didn't see it. Mr.
Dale
308,
Colbert,
Mr. 308 himself.
he locked in points championship,
And
which we'll get some more information about that here in a minute.
yeah, here in just a little bit. But they did a little 3 Derby point series, 3
Sound
weekends
like
in
it
a
went
row.
out. It went killer. What, Chad Bostic,
Cody Workmeister and Mike Zerr.
Yep.
Yep. They did Troy, they did Montgomery City, and they did Wentzville, which
And
is
it
St.
looked
Charles
like
County.
the car counts were climbing with every show they
Car
had.
counts were good. The people, I mean, Cy said he went last night. And he said he swear there was 10,000 people in the stands. You know,
It was packed. Standing room only. I mean,
I
absolutely
love it.
ridiculous.
That's the
Yes.
shit I want to hear.
Absolutely ridiculous.
and that's the thing about us. Even if we weren't doing a podcast, which is we have talked, it's just separated from the promotion company. We don't want to see any promotion company fail.
None of it.
Period. Because that is just hurting the sport, which we do not want to do. And if it comes down to the point where we think that we're hurting the sport, that's when we're going to say fuck this and hang it up
Yep.
and give it to somebody who's going to keep trying to progress with it.
Well, and that's my big deal, and it's been said 100 times. Derek and I have talked about it. My wife, his wife, we've all sat down. If it comes to a point where I feel like I'm hurting other shows because of what we're doing, I will quit.
Yep. We all know there's times we get burnout and say, this one's it. We're going to do it. And then you get just a little breath, a little time to relax, such as going next weekend to the lake,
Right.
where you can get some us time and shut that cell phone off.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about derbies while we're at the lake.
Nope. We can talk about the bottom of some ultras
Cold beers.
and some cold beers and
Yeah,
feet touching the bottom of the pool.
I'm down on that.
Way down.
Y'all will enjoy that. I'll be at work.
Ha
Good.
ha 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 ha. He said I'm number 1.
You did.
But it's so cool to see, guys who are drivers, fabricators, Zer pedals, Zer cradles, Zer spindles, and I don't know if I don't think Cody's into that either, but Cody will run a gut and go to a compact, to a mod car, to a light
Yeah.
weld. Same way with Zer, them guys
The more and more promotion companies that transition drivers, builders, fabricators into what they've got going on, the better their tech will be, the better their officialing will be, the calmer everything will be, and the smoother everything will run.
Yep, exactly. Which
You
we have
take
talked.
some Joe Blow off the street and throw flags in their hands and put them on the dirt, put them in the tech line.
Mhm.
You're gonna have a shit show.
I know.
Those are all the ingredients.
I know really good builders that probably would not be very good techs.
100%.
Period. But I've seen really
And
good
I
techs
know
who aren't very good builders.
And I know several drivers that wouldn't make good officials.
Nope. Whether they don't have the mentality for it, the temperament for it. We've talked several times. You
Raw
got to.
emotion is something you don't show on the dirt,
Yeah, it's hard not to do that.
especially if you're passionate about what you're doing.
Correct. Yep.
Because there's been times that I've been on the dirt and somebody that I like wins. Can't jump up and down and cheer for
No,
them.
but you got to go shake their hand, say congratulations, get this piece of shit off the track,
I've
so we can
gotta
get the
know,
next one
yeah.
going. You know,
You know, if you want to have a beer after this, I'll tell you that, hell, that was badass watching you run out there. You cannot show favoritism. You cannot show excitement.
but in that same token, it's hard to not show emotion when it's somebody that you don't like and something happens. You know, you can't just run out there and snap their shit off and launch it.
You can't do that.
You can't do it.
It's
You
not a thing that you can
correct.
do.
You've got to.
Because we pride ourselves in giving everybody a fair shake.
We start at fair payout,
You know how many times...
then we go to a fair tech, and then we go to a fair shake,
And then we go to a fair show.
and hopefully a fair beer.
Last night there was 2 beer gardens, one on each end of that pit down there at St. Charles.
See, I would have fancied one of those. I like to support
One
those
was-
when we go watch.
One was right there. I mean, it was right there.
But you probably didn't even partake in any Colbert, did you?
I did not. The person I went with did.
That is cough.
Did he not? If he didn't have a DD, that's understandable, which you did watch size hammer a big, tall mug of beer in single seconds the other night. So that's the problem if he drinks like that all the
The
time.
little feller was thirsty.
He was thirsty.
I was hungry too.
But their point series over there for those 3 shows looked really good. We spoke about him just a little bit earlier, Mr. Dale Colbert. You know, he won that points deal, and I think his son was running with him for those points.
He was in a GM wagon.
And his boy was in a Vic or Marquis. It's what it
Yeah,
looked
something
like
that's what it
from
was.
that I saw on Facebook this morning. You know, but that's the thing. They do it as a family. Whether it's Dale and his wife there and the kids not running, or being able to go onto the track with his kid.
I'm not going to lie. I love some of the short, like the little short jabs that we see Casey throw in on Facebook every once in a while. I get a kick out of that.
But
No, Warrington Derby's coming up, and you'll see Casey just chime in. I mean, one comment, boop, she'll come in and be like, "Yeah, probably rained out already." Man, I giggle and like it and keep scrolling.
yeah, keep on rolling. Don't want to stir no more shit. But
Every once in a while, I like to get a spoon out.
I think if you're good,
Big spoon or little spoon?
let's get Mr.
I do want to introduce somebody before we do this because I've been telling the little feller I'd get him on the podcast since we started doing it. I've got my son down here, one of the 2. And this is the 11-year-old. This is Remington Adams. And he does some of the officialing and stuff for us.
Power
in
Wheels.
The Power Wheels.
Yep. We're just waiting for him to get a little bit older and maybe
Well,
he can start
hopefully
throwing
him
big
and
flag.
Derek's boy can take this shit over one of these days.
What do you think about that, dude?
My little brother can help. Piper can always
You
help.
better watch out. Your little sister will be the one that's in charge.
Yeah, she'll hit you.
She'll be like,
She'll hit you with a
Lish.
wheel or something. She'll be like
awesome.
Lish.
But no, that's the boy. He definitely follows the podcast.
Oh yeah.
He listens to all that stuff, and he gets to watch us sit around and mouth and bitch about all this stuff. So
He ain't throwed nothing at us yet.
not yet. He did throw something on the floor earlier.
He did. Yeah. But
Yeah, let's
want to get
Dale-
Travis Coleman on?
Yeah, let's do
Cool.
it.
All right, guys. We've got the 369 traffic cone man himself, Mr. Dale Colbert, on with us live. What's happening, dude?
Not too much. How you guys doing?
Oh, pretty good. Long weekend. You know how that is.
Yes, sir.
You've had a long 3 weekends.
I ran the last 4 weekends in a row. I started at Warrenton and went to Troy, Montgomery, and finished it off in Wentzville.
Warrenton had a derby.
Yes, sir.
It didn't get rained out?
It was close.
It was close. Everybody was kind of watching their radar and everything, wondering when they was going to call it. But
That place cannot catch a break.
Right. Yeah, they've been rained out the last, like, literally 3 shows. Because Mother's Day Madness got rained out, and I showed up to your show. And last year, their fair show got rained out, and their spring show. So, yeah, 3 shows in a row got rained out.
We hate to see any of that for any fair, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that right there is the ruination of a show.
Right.
Well, talk to us. What do you think of this little 3 Derby point series you run? Let's hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, with Cody Workmeister and Michael Zaire, they started a little promotion thing this year, which I say it all the time. Last thing we need is more promoters, but they did a hell of a job, and I can't wait to run their shows next year. We had good tech. Michael Zaire was their lead inspector. I mean, that guy's tech cars at a lot of the bigger shows. I know he's teched at Blizzard Bash, and he knew probably, like he said last night in the driver's meeting, he's like, I know 75 to 80% of the people, and I feel like I got treated with same respect, or I got the same legit inspection that he would give another guy who was better buddies that build cars with him. So
That's all anybody can honestly ask for, Dale.
yes, sir. Yeah, that's why I like the bigger shows, because they're a lot kind of stricter on their tech, and I mean, I build to the rules because I don't want to work on the car when you show up to these derbies and it's 100 degrees with half the tools. But I feel like they did a good job, and like I said, looking forward to running shows next year.
which we know we have seen you at Blizzard Bash run that stock class there. We've seen you at Palmyra. We see you a lot of places. But we also see you in plenty of different cars.
Yeah, this time I ran in the stock class. I ran it was an 80s GM wagon. I've had it for about 6 years. I bought it from Steve Newman. He's been trying to buy it back from me from the day I got it. But he there for a long time. In Troy, the stock class rules were to run a GM motor, you had to have a GM car, and so I ran 5 or 6 wagons in a row, and I bought this one. It was clean 6 years ago. It was a Roxana school district car, and I wanted to take everything I learned from the wagons to put in that car. Well, then I jumped into Ford. I started Derby in '95. I ran nothing but GMs until 2016, and I ran my first Ford, and I kind of jumped on the Ford train with everybody else.
Well, I think the Ford train is a lot easier to find.
Yep, they're a lot easier to find. They're a lot easier to repair. I mean, the Ford's got a square frame, where the that GM wagon has kind of the L-shaped frame. And I mean, mine was easy to fix because all the body mount bolts were broken, so I was able to lift the whole body up, and we plated it on the outside of the frame. But and it did pretty good or whatever. But the Ford frames are definitely a lot stronger. They're predictable, and they're a lot easier to build.
Now, do you feel like that GM wagon held up better because our faces were on the side of it?
Yeah, I think so.
We said for 3 weeks we figured it was going to be a big-ass target for you.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of my passenger door. That thing is destroyed.
So I'm guessing my moneymaker is probably destroyed too?
Yes, sir. I run a 2x6 C-channel 1/4 inch on my side frame, the 5-foot bars, whatever, and that sucker's bowed in about a good 6 inches.
Well, my face on that side was the closest one to the firewall, so I figured I don't have any nugget left.
Right, yeah, they dang near cleaned you off of it.
Which a lot of people don't know that Dale uses broadhead decals as well.
He uses everybody.
he does.
Yeah.
But this specific
Yeah.
build,
Right.
he used broadhead, and we get a message that's like, "Hey, did you guys see this?" And we see our face on our whatever you
Caricatures.
characters on the side of his car, and we just kind of looked at each other. I was like, "Dude, you're giving yourself a big ass target."
Yeah, Justin Broadhead, he hooked me up. I had a guy that was gonna paint it up for me, and then found out he wasn't gonna be at the Derby. And Justin, I've been dealing with him for I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And I guess first one he did for me was ran down at Freedom Hall that one year, and he got me hooked up down there. And I do use all the different sticker guys. I just like to see all the different designs they come up with. I mean, I've used George Hino, Engstrom, Justin, I can't think of the guy in South Indiana. Oh, JD Auto Body and Graphics. And I just like everybody's different design. And Justin's kind of my go-to guy. He's one of the coolest guys you ever meet.
Yeah, he did my boy's roof sign, and it was so fast turnaround, it wasn't even funny.
Yep, I ordered this on, he sent me a design. Well, I talked to him on Tuesday. I guess it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and he had me stickers showed up at my door on Friday. So,
Man.
pretty quick 48-hour turnaround.
Yeah, he is insane with that stuff. It's awesome.
Yep. He just posted a thing and raised his prices. Well, they probably he needed to, but I'll gladly pay the extra money for his customer service.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Dale, how did this little three Derby series? How did that work for the championship part of it? Did you have show up points, feature points, how you finish points?
Yeah, you get 10 points for showing up, and then 100 points for the win. And I ended up winning Troy, so I got 110 points there. And then like from first to fifth, it goes down 20 points. So second place was 80, third place was 60, and so on.
I like that because it'll keep the field close.
Right, and then but then like in Montgomery, Dustin Kelsey won. Well, he won 110 points. Well, I got third place, which was 60. Or I don't even remember what it was.
So, well, you had one after your second
I
Derby.
got
You
one-
had 170, and Dustin had 110.
Yeah, so I got more points for getting third place and then getting the Mad Dog on top of it. So I
Was
had
the
a pretty
Mad
good
Dog
lead
like
going
50
into
points
that.
extra?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Was the Mad Dog like what, 50 points?
Yeah, the Mad Dog was 50 points, and but yeah, I got third place in the Mad Dog in Montgomery, and then last night in Wentzville, I got third place also. I had a pretty good lead going into Wentzville last night because Dustin Kelsey and Dustin Stewart and them other guys, they didn't make it to Troy to run. I mean, it's tough to run 3 weekends in a row, and the fairs were. We talked to got a picture taken with all with a member of each county fair's fair board, and I mean, without that point series, I probably wouldn't have ran Montgomery. So I mean, that point series definitely helped them draw some cars to the other show, and I mean, it's tough to run 3 weekends in a row. I ran 2 cars in Troy. I brought my bone stock and the street stock to Troy, and then also brought 2 cars to Wentzville last night.
And then didn't you get to run with your son?
Yes, sir. My boy, his first Derby. Well, last year I brought 2 cars, and Rob Baker put the show on. Well, I never read the rules, which is common. But I built, I had a 76 Malibu. It was rusted out, and I was just going to scrap the car. And I threw it together for the stock class, and of course, I wasn't able to run because it was 80 and newer. So I talked to Rob, and he let my boy drive it last year, and he was 15. So he ran it out in the street stock. So there's two 369s with road cones on there. My boy was first one out. The starter messed up on the flywheel, and I ended up winning Troy last year in their street stock. Then he got to run Peoria this year. He ran the youth class there, and now he ran Troy, Montgomery, and Wentzville. So
Let's switch gears a little bit here, Dale. I think everybody wants to know, how'd the road cone start?
well, my first Derby in 1995. I was a junior in high school, and I had some other buddies that went to school there, and they this was all before the roof sign, so they collected money through all the different buddies, gave them money, and then they put a road cone on top of their car to show where they were at on the track, and then at the end of the Derby, they were done for, but then we had the ceremonial cone raising, put it on my car, and I've had a road cone on every car except my very first one. And like I said, it was originally put on there, like I said, it was before the roof sign. So I put my cone on there, and that way all my buddies and friends could follow me going around the track. And I actually had the same cone for about 15 years, and then I think somebody stole it, and then the highway department's donated a couple, and I actually just bought my first cone last year because I couldn't find a good one.
Well, I like it as an announcer, and my wife really likes it when she's sitting next to me, keeping everything lined up. Because, like at Palmyra, we all know roof signs and door wraps. You know, door wraps get demolished. A lot of the roof signs, they kind of blend in with each other. But I can always look at the cone, and she can say, "Is 369 still in?" I said, "I still see a cone moving, so we're good."
Yeah, and that's the other thing with my roof sign. I don't know if you guys remember Derby Works. They did
Yep.
a lot of custom roof signs. And I got and he came up with that design on his own. It's a road closed sign, or made with a road closed sign and put Dale Colbert or whatever. And I had that same sign, and he went out of business. And then I called and offered. I offered him $500 making another one, and he just said he was done with the dirty people. There's so many people that just got designs from him, of course, and didn't do anything with it. I was like, you need to get that money down. I was like, I'll pay good money for your work, because he made some super cool ones. He was only in business there for a year or two doing derby roof signs, and there's a lot of them still out there.
Well, Dale, we're kind of going to ask. We know what you just said. You know, you've been in this game since '95. What gave you the itch to want to do it?
My dad ran the auto repair and towing shop. He's been in business 50 years this year, but he started back when it was probably more fun. Knock the glass out and go run. Between me and him, we ran the Lincoln County Fair in Troy, Missouri for over 40 years, and I missed one a few years ago. I lost training the day of the Derby, like hours before, and but that's the only fair of the time in Troy, Missouri, that we missed the Derby between one of us.
Shoo!
And then my brother ran. He got out of it a couple years ago, and now he runs a dirt track car. He started driving circles, and then I got my boy in it. But the one that's the most into it is my Everett. He just turned 4, and that guy is 100% Derby.
I get a kick out of your wife. We were talking about that earlier. I like her little short jabs that you see on Facebook every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. She likes to give that Warren County Fair Board a hard time.
Oh, I love it. That's what we were talking about. I wasn't going to name any names, but
We'll let you do that.
But it's just funny because, they always used to post rain or shine, no matter what, rain or shine. And they did that. And then finally on this last one, they took off the rain or shine because, between her and Jeremy Baker, who's not on Facebook anymore, but Andrea, that was always their little running joke. Oh, rain or shine. Yeah, they give that Warren County Fair Board all kinds of hell.
Which Jeremy had full right to bitch about that because
Yeah.
they had stepped on his dick 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's a problem with Warren, like, not to pick on Warren County here, but and other fairs is they keep running through promoters. I mean, Derek Flowers had Warrenton, and he did a good job with it. And then Jeremy Baker come in, and now J&B's got it. Then you go to Troy. I mean, the fair board put it on. Well, once all race promotions left, the fair board put it on for a handful of years. Then they made a mistake and brought in GSA. And then Rob Baker had it, and now back to Cody and Zare taking over. So
That's why we try not to bounce around too much. We kind of get what we've got and roll on with it.
right.
I know I've been in contact with you several times about a bigger facility, you know, for one or a couple of our shows, and we're still working on some of that stuff. But as far as us trying to bounce around, we try to kind of stay where we're at and be there and make those shows as good as possible.
Right. Yeah, I wish it would go back to the auto race promotions days where
Well,
they were only,
I've about got the
promoter.
size out of it. I just need a golf cart.
Right. Yeah, I know George Sims, he was and a little backstory, I ran a Sedagon last night. That 4-wagon was destroyed because we weren't allowed to do no pre-bending, so we did some notching on the back pillars or whatever. When that thing folded up, it ripped them pillars loose. So I turned into Sedagon, but where I was going with this, back in this was the late 90s, me and my brother were watching a show on Demolition Derby. It was on the History Channel, and they're showing the different types of cars, and then we seen them make a Sedagon. So we went home that night, and we didn't have no tractor or anything. We just went out there with sledgehammers and beat this thing, and made a Sedagon out of a 80s wagon. Brought that thing there, and I was super proud of it. And old George Simpson flying down the hill in his golf cart, and he's like, "Where the hell did you learn how to do that?" And I was like, "Oh man, George, I was watching TV, the History Channel." He's like, "There's no Sedagons allowed in my show," and I was like, "I didn't find anything in the rules." Oh, the next year, all of his rules, no Sedagons. But I never did any good at those shows anyway. I mean, I didn't really care. I just wanted to go out there and hit somebody at 30 mile an hour. So I never really took it serious until about 2015.
Which, you know, we just spoke earlier. You know, you've gone to Blizzard Bash. Your boy.
I run against him.
Yes,
at
you
Blizzard
did.
Bash. Well, try to run with him as long as we could. We should have had that. We should have done better than what we did.
Yeah, we had a good. There was a good group of Missouri boys that went that year. The Porters were out there. I think Paul Smith was that year.
Yep.
You and I can't remember who else. That had to have been like 2017, 18.
It was 18.
18, yeah. Because I ended up 6th overall, and I ended up losing steering. I had a good car, but once I lost steering, I jumped that thing trying to turn.
Now, we have spoke in the past, you know, since Peoria, Sam, started this year back with his deal. Is that something, I know you guys went for your boy. We have heard nothing but good about that Peoria show. Do you think that's something that, you know, is going to be on your list to just take, you know, you and your boy in that stock class and just try to get that every year instead of trying to mess with the Capital Carnage stuff, you know, in the spring?
Yeah, I was kind of heartbroken when they took away the stock classes from Blizzard Bash because I've been going to Blizzard Bash and watching it probably since 2012, and I even went to the Blizzard Bash before it was in Topeka. Back when they used to have it in Nebraska. This was probably like, I don't know when Blizzard Bash started, but this had to be 06 or maybe even 07. I remember my boy was real young. Chase was real young. and me and my brother drove up there on a wild hare. Uh, found out about the Derby on the old Weed Crash website. Just decided to road trip and go check it out. And but yeah, Sam, he's top of the line. His boy Chris did excellent tech, and I guess his daughter Nicole, she was doing all the registration, all that. But Chris is a young man that's very knowledgeable, and like I said, I like the bigger shows. You get the legit tech, and I've always been treated well by seeing them guys. And yeah, I plan on going back to Peoria, and I don't know, there's a wild chance I can talk my wife into it. So in 1 week in Topeka, Kansas, and the next week in Peoria, we'll see how that goes.
Whew. Boy, you're wanting to kill yourself this winter, ain't you?
Hopefully, I can meet you on the track out there in Peoria this year or next year.
Sounds good. Yeah, I ran Vegas, and I ran Freedom Hall the year before that, and I really wanted to get back in that Freedom Hall show, but I didn't get in. But I was trying like hell to get into Freedom Hall, and I was going to pull that off. I was going to leave for Louisville, Kentucky on Friday and get down there and get back with that car and load up the other one and head to Vegas on Tuesday. And but
Oh my!
yeah, but the Stein Opens were planning on it, but they made it to Freedom Hall that year, but they never made it to Vegas. But,
Yeah.
I have a car built to go back to Vegas, but they keep canceling the dang show.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you. You know, you did this 3 points derby for the stock show. How? I haven't got to look at their rules. How close are their stock rules to the Filthy Promotion stock rules?
They're pretty close. I mean, there's a simple build. It's got to be stock body bolts, except of course you're all thread in the front, and you're allowed to all thread in the rear on the trunk lid. The big thing that got a lot of people was no welding at all in their back bumper. Don't even touch it. So I actually ran an aluminum back bumper that comes stock on a 80s GM wagon. And the other thing was that got a lot of people was the rear end rule, no modification, so you couldn't run no Ford 9-inch. So I just had a factory 10-bolt that came in that thing. I was nervous about it from day one. Because I went through a spell a few years ago where I just broke every stock rear end that put behind my motor. And other than that, this 3/4 all thread, simple cage, 5-foot cage, 4 down tube to the frame. So a pretty good set of rules, and you're allowed 2 fresh plates, which I didn't put no plates on until I didn't want to run with fresh plates, or I didn't want to put fresh plates on there. I saved my plates so I could try to get that car to hit all 3 shows, and I really need them after Montgomery. That thing bellied out, and I lost my cross member and drove 3 or 4 minutes without a cross member in my car. I don't know why my training went out.
Shoo!
But and then we put all the repair plates on, and he allowed 2 extra plates to run Winsville, which there's a few people I've heard complain about that, but I mean, we've discussed that in every driver's meeting from Troy, Montgomery, and leading up to it, and then they had a vote amongst the drivers, and all the drivers agreed to allow the 2 extra plates. And of course, the street stock cars, they got the 2 extra plates also, so.
Well, you know, it sounds like your month has been absolutely crazy, and I'm sure it's going to be probably a couple months before that, but we're hoping we're going to get to see you kind of down our direction, you know, because we do have 3 shows left, and I think they're all going to be really good stock stuff.
Sounds good. Yeah, I told the wife I was taking a break this month.
You and us both.
She's been the Derby widow because, I mean, I've been hitting it hot and heavy at the shop since about Memorial Day. and been in and out there trying to build 3 cars with me trying to run 2 cars. And then I ran Warrenton the first week of July and got home at midnight, 1 a.m. from the Derby, and then by 11 o'clock the next morning I had that motor pulled and dropped in my stock class car. That dropped in that wagon, and that wagon should have been a lot farther along than it was. So I killed myself the week leading up to Troy, the first one, almost to the point where I was supposed to be admitted in the hospital the Monday after Troy. I had double lung pneumonia and bronchitis. I was dying.
Well, man,
It's all the derbies.
You know, one thing that we've talked about with you several times, or talked about you, is I've seen you with a car that is completely gone, and your drivetrain and shit is still rolling. Do you want to give any shout outs to your builder there?
Shout out to Shane Fessler, Fessler Race Engine in Troy. I run a Chevy 350 in my bone stock car, and that's generally the motor I run that thing, and that motor's been to Vegas, Kansas, Kentucky, and that thing just won't die. Running on E85, it took me about a year to get it figured out, get that setup figured out, and then once I got it figured out, Fessler's awesome. He'll come out. If I'm having any issues at all, I'll call him up and I'll bounce by his shop and drop my car off, and he'll play with the carburetor. Or a couple years ago, my grandma passed away the night of the Winsfield Derby, and I was actually at the hospital with her, and Fessler come out to my dad's shop, and in case I wanted to run, and was out there till midnight getting the motor all tuned in. They stayed out there and worked on my car. Fessler stopped by. I had a couple of buddies. They stopped by and worked on my car till about 3 a.m. Me and my brother left the hospital after she passed, and he's like, "You want to run Winsfield?" Well, they must have been pulling out as we were pulling in, and me and my brother finished that car and painted it when the sun come up, and went to run Winsfield that night and won. That was in 2019, I guess.
well, that's the thing about Shane Fessler. I mean, I've been in his shop. I've got to see his motors work. I've got to see his carburetors work. Anything with the Black Widow stamp, they're going to run, and they're going to run right.
Yep.
His turn.
We've went through a learning curve because he was always a kind of a dirt track motor guy.
Yep.
And so when we first started building my cars, he just thought I was running dirt track. And I finally brought him some videos. I was like, "Man, these dirty motors, we're on the gas for 30 seconds or a minute if you're pushing somebody." But I was like, once I brought my video, and then of because you're on the gas and then off the gas and putting around, taking big hits, and we like I said, that first year I started running that E85. He dialed her in, and not looking back.
Well, I was super impressed whenever we were out there at Blizzard Bash, because I looked over several times. You had no radiator, and you could already see discoloring on the bottom side of the headers through the fender well. And I was like, I don't think it's died yet.
That's like my car at Montgomery. Stupid mistake. Radiator was sitting up. I'm taking the hood down a little too tight, and then one of the bits come back. I lost my radiator cap in the first minute of Montgomery, and ran the next, 16, 18 minutes, however long it lasted, with pretty much no water. Like I said, no cap. And my radiator was still good at the end of the night, but there wasn't nothing left in it.
Well, that was the third hit I took out there at Blizzard Bash. It busted the bottom out of that radiator of mine, and I run that whole feature until the transmission went out with no water in that 318. And hell, it was just running better the hotter it got.
Yeah, that's kind of the way my motor was. Like that same year at Blizzard Bash.
It was so cold.
Oh, yeah. That was the thing with E85, too. That was cold natured. So I was going out all night between all the races and trying to start that. Or then I would start it and let it run. And then we went out there to start to take the track. The temperature was 6 degrees on the outside of the building, and my car barely started. And it takes that thing a little bit to get warmed up. But from the time I started it until the time the race was over, at 1:06 a.m. or whatever it was, I got a picture on my phone. No reason I know the time. That motor ran for over an hour and 20 minutes, and 55 minutes of track time. So I was pretty damn impressed with it.
Well, Josh Gordon and myself went out about an hour before we took the track, and we started my car and pulled it up there, to close to the tunnel. And we took turns going in and going back out, and we left my car running outside. And we put gas in it in the line before I pulled into the arena. Because we went out there to get it started, and I ended up having to push it in. It was either Rob's or Tommy Stark's tent, and putting the one of them big salamanders on the front of it to get it to run.
Yeah.
It was terrible. There was like 3 cars that didn't get to come out there and run with us, like Zach O'Neill and them, because they burnt starters and shit up trying to get their cars started out there in the parking lot.
Yeah, I just remember it was cold as hell.
Well, I know that I stayed that Sunday night because we all went out and ate and kind of, relaxed. I took that Monday off. And we pulled out of there Monday morning, and there was probably 3 inches of snow on my car. When I come out of the hotel, I was like, shit.
Yeah, that's my other thing. Around that time, I bought an enclosed trailer. I got it for a steal of deal on Craigslist. And but I was happy to have my enclosed like at Peoria this year. A lot of them other cars had 3-4 inches of snow, and my car was dry. And but like Peoria, it was cold there, and I had to put the old had the heater on inside the trailer to get it there.
Well, man, we know you've gone through kind of a hell month. Going to take some time off. Like I said, we hope we're going to be able to see you at one of these 3 shows that we've got. We appreciate you coming to support us. We know that you are crazy busy right now. You're going to get to take a little bit of a break as we are. So we'll
definitely catch up with him again.
We're going to get you at the end of the summer. Maybe have you come here. We'll even go.
We might even go to the Colbert shop.
Colbert compound.
Yeah, come on out anytime.
Well, brother, man,
I'm gonna try to. I got a couple cars I need to get rid of, so I was gonna try to hit one of these cleanup shows.
We're definitely having one October 15th.
Yeah. And then I'm not going to Blizzard Bash for the first time this year, for a long time. So.
Well, I don't think you're the only person that has said that we've got to talk to this summer.
Right.
So. Well, man, we appreciate you. We're gonna get you on later this fall. Thank you for supporting us as the Hard Nosed Derby podcast, putting us on the side. Like I said, we just gave you probably a little bit bigger target on some door shots. So, man,
we call it the Hard Nosed Derby podcast wagon.
It cast a check or two.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. We appreciate you, and we're gonna let you go, and we'll catch you.
Sounds great. Thank you all. This is Dale Colbert. And thanks for listening to the Hard Nosed Derby podcast. See you all on the track soon.
That was Mr. 369 Dale Colbert.
Mr. Traffic Cone himself. We have verification on what the traffic cone is for.
I like it.
This is not only a fun and family-friendly podcast, it's also informative.
Informational. Very informative.
You're going to learn today.
But, Dale's a hard runner wherever he goes. He's not, he just told you, he's not overbuilt. He doesn't like to cut.
I love watching the dude wheel a car.
Because at Palmyra, he wheeled the shit out of that car.
Oh, he knew he was down for a gang banging. And a gang banging he got.
He run up the ass of one of them, and he drove him to the other end of it, and he stood on it.
And that old motor never even bobbled.
Didn't think about it. I'm not sure what took him out. I mean, I know
Probably
what
that
took
ass kicking.
I know what took him out.
He
but-
called me the next day and he was like, "Wow." He said, "I did not bring enough people with me."
No, that's 6-1. That does suck. But like I said, we
Super good sport. The sportsmanship that comes out of that dude,
Yep.
second to none.
I've never seen
him
nothing
mad.
without a smile. Anytime I've ever seen him, he's always smiling. I talked to him,
And he's
after
always
the
got
game.
that low, sober tone.
Yep. Doesn't.
Oh, we'll get him on the next one.
There's none of this one right here.
Nope.
There's no wave. It's just a constant one line, almost like a dead heartbeat.
And if
Just,
he takes that ass whooping, he's like, you know what? I'll get him back at the next one.
Yep, we'll go to the next one. But we appreciate him getting on with us.
The dude, I talked to him before we run out at Blizzard Bash, and I told him, I was like, yeah, dude, I'll run with you. Missouri. We're not that far apart. Which I wanted to bring that Kansas money back with us anyway.
Yeah.
And me and him never got in each other's way out there the whole time.
Nope.
Backing up, I'd rub on him a little bit or whatever. We'd take off and head to the other end, working the same end of the track.
Yep.
And I tried to watch him too. If I seen him down there getting pushed up or whatever, I'd try to help him out. But
That is, you just said it right there. That is one thing that I think upsets a lot of people. If they're just acquaintances, not homies or,
Right.
not a group. Yeah, I'm going to run with you. Well, when you say you're going to run with somebody, that means you got to watch their ass too. So
right.
what happens? Well, two guys are smoking your quotation dude who is just getting raped over here in the corner, and then you leave him hanging out.
No, you can't do that.
You cannot do that. You've got to consider him as a teammate.
Which
at that
normally
point in
people
time.
ask me to run with them, and I'm like, hey, if my shit runs that long, I got you, dude.
Yeah. If the 727 stands up in it,
Yeah.
we're good to go. But if not, it's no bueno. But
Well, that was a 904 night.
was it? Blech. Just puked all over itself.
Well, Paris is coming up.
Paris is coming up.
Sounds like we're going to do the 3K to win, gut and go.
3-2-1. I think we went 3-2-1.
4,
5,
5,
250,
6, 7.
and 125. I believe
Yeah.
playing 7 spots. That stuff will be out this week.
Yep.
This won't launch until Thursday. This will probably be on Facebook Monday.
Monday, Tuesday,
Yep,
I
there will
figure.
be some info.
Because that's going to give everybody 20 days to build a gut and go.
20 days to build a gut and go.
Come on now.
Yeah, you better be
If
able
somebody's
to build
on
about
my
4 gut and
yeah,
goes.
if somebody's on my ass about, well, you didn't give me enough time,
Yeah, you're going to
quit it.
Yeah. Yeah, quit it.
Because I know the dude that won the 3K the last time,
was
3
good.
days.
8 hours.
Right. Well, yeah, but it was
Not counting strip time.
Right.
They legitimately built it completely in 8 hours.
8 hours. So if you're going to be like, well, Steven, I don't have time.
Yeah,
Well,
bullshit.
I know most of you have sick time at work. Rosin up the old,
Over the pants handy.
and
Do
just
what you
deal
gotta
with
do.
it. So
We've got our August 20th, but if nothing's going on while we're at the lake chilling, drinking margaritas in a pool, Friday night, Palmyra,
yeah,
JC's Derby.
the dude that helped us get all this shit started,
Yep.
Dakota, I think he's gonna.
He's going to run.
Yep.
Yep. He's going to run.
I hate that I'm missing that.
Yeah.
really.
He's he was in the promotion side, helping the JCs get that fair show back.
He's
to,
the one that made it what it's
Yes.
what it's got going
Yes.
on right now. Whether they can carry that steam, I don't know. I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, but he's bringing out a 98-02.
And it is fucking nasty.
Yeah, for the first time since 12, I think
Yeah.
he said that's
Have
the
you
last
seen
show.
it? Have you?
I just get some Snapchats, but the K is legit.
Oh yeah, dude. That was one of the cleanest 9802s I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And we've talked about internal scale. Nah. Nope.
He said he got it from Justin,
Mm-hmm.
and he said it was a clean bitch.
Justin didn't want to get rid of it.
He didn't. He didn't want to.
Which I think Justin's running.
I heard him and I heard they were both going over there. I
I'm
knew
not
Justin
gonna-
had a car built,
I'm not going to say what Justin's going to be in, but
No.
that bitch is bad.
but he did say that he had a car built ready for Augusta if he was going to go a couple weeks ago, and he decided not to run. He was teching at Columbia at Boone
Right.
County with us. So he said that was on the shelf, just sitting in the shop, just waiting for that beak to eat some shit.
Well,
Have you seen his new motor?
I seen it
It's
yesterday,
nasty.
up close, personal, at his shop before we left for Wentzville. He hasn't even heard it run yet.
388 cubic inches of methanol breathing powerhouse machine.
Nasty.
It
You don't see very many of those in a stock car, though.
I don't know if it's a stock car.
Oh,
I
Okay.
think it might be up one class. Maybe.
might be. Well, it's going to launch Thursday. They're going to see it the next day. So,
We're going to have to get that fucker back on there, too.
yeah, we'll get him down here, though.
Yeah, we'll just make him come down and sit
Yeah.
in. Because that was actually our first ever Hard Nosed Derby podcast guest.
Yep, he was the first guest. He was. Yep, but now
That's been a couple episodes ago.
it's been a minute.
We may have to make a trip to his shop. His little shop that he's got, it's not a bad
That's
little
what we were
building.
talking about, doing the Filthy Promotions Christmas party.
That is right. So,
He's got a nice
if you
fridge.
want, if you got a derby, if you got some downtime this weekend, hit Palmyra
We'll come
Fairgrounds,
to the lake.
or come to the lake with us. We don't give a shit.
Quit rubbing it in.
We'll drink while Si works. But we're gonna have some what you call them, bugger eaters.
Oh, yeah. Little vagrants.
We're gonna have some vagrants with us this weekend, so we can't get too rowdy. But guys, thanks for hanging with us. We kind of went a little bit different route on this
And
episode.
next week may be the same way.
You could.
We're trying to get some information out there to the people that don't know.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. We'll get into some, maybe not the logistics side of it, but just some more informational side.
Everybody that is listening in, our Facebook pages are open. You know, Messenger's there.
Hard Nosed Derby podcast page is
Yes.
open.
I mean, you all got to tell us what you, as the consumer,
Yes,
Want to see.
want to talk about.
correct. You can go and just make a post on Hard Nosed Derby podcast page. It's out there. It's public. You can ask whatever you
Shit,
want.
send me a smoke signal.
Yeah, Messenger, do whatever.
Morse code.
We do have a lineup of drivers that we have almost scheduled. We understand that sometimes somebody's got something coming up, can't get figured out about the time, because sometimes we might do it at 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and sometimes it might start at 6.
I'm so ready for this winter.
So we can have a set
We
schedule.
can do some shit. Because I will be laid off.
Yeah. I won't be, but I don't have to ever work a Sunday
For that.
or Saturday.
Who
So-
knows, by then I might not be either.
Yeah, whatever. You're a lifer. Don't give me that bullshit. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I'm just telling you that the Saturday schedule will open up.
Oh,
this
yes.
winter.
Yes.
We can go to these shops. I can get hammered drunk.
We always got a DD.
Oh, shit.
You know, so just tell us. Just tell us what you want.
Hell, tell us that you don't like what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Yeah, we can change.
Constructive criticism.
Constructive, destructive.
Yeah,
But
I don't care.
just remember, don't be an asshole about it, because we've already said we were born assholes. It's just a level of assholishness that we want to go. But, you know, we joke around. We have a good time. We try.
hope that everybody's still enjoying it.
Yeah, and if that's why we're just said, if you're not enjoying it, let us know. We can change.
Because we're deep
Rate
enough
the
into
podcast.
this deal that
Rate
you
the
know.
podcast on all the different apps and everything that you can listen to it on. Hit the
Yeah,
stars.
the like,
Oh, yeah.
subscribe deal, that helps us know
Yeah.
what's going on more than anything.
Correct. Whether it's on Amazon Music, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on Apple Play. There's a couple I don't
And
even.
if you are enjoying it, hit that share button.
Yeah, post it. It grew pretty big over the last month.
Right.
You know, the downloads have grown as well. So
Man, after we finally get our shit together, we'll be able to start sponsoring some shit and getting our name out
I
there.
already got one hit up today.
Well,
Homie needs a new helmet.
everybody keeps asking Filthy Promotions, hey, will you sponsor this? Will you sponsor that? I'm like, well, Filthy Promotions might not be the best sponsor for that, but I do know of a podcast group.
A couple old backwoods rednecks, we might be able to
Scrounge up a couple
scrounge up a
dollars.
little bit of something. So
But man, hey, thanks for listening.
make junk, boys.